right, welcome to a special edition of Mississippi Stories. I'm your host, Marshall Ramsey, editorial cartoonist and editor-at-large at Mississippi Today. And so I say special edition. This actually is probably next to Mississippi Stories because right now I'm in Birmingham, Alabama. And I've got a very special guest today, a friend of mine, Scott Stantis. And Scott is one of the handful of editorial cartoonists left in the country. So we have two here, which I think we have a quorum now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Scott and I have known each other forever. He was at the Birmingham News for many years while I was at the Clarion Ledger, and we would call each other up and play stupid governor chess whenever our governors would do something dumb. And
still not sure who won that one.
I'm not sure. I think you do. I think you are probably winning the senator one right now.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Tommy. Oh, thanks, Tommy. Appreciate that a little bit. But
the gift that keeps on giving.
yeah, and I just wanted to talk to you a little bit and catch up with you. Last night I had the chance to talk to his class. I didn't teach him anything, but I got to talk to his honors class at the University of Alabama, Birmingham, which you're an adjunct professor there. And congratulations. I see you've already got the jacket and everything now.
Yes.
So you just need a pipe and you're going to be full professor now.
Yes. Well, if I ever get there. If I get on tenure track, I get the pipe. They have a ceremony.
They have tenure track for cartoonists.
God. Yeah.
Can you imagine
Can
you imagine any job security in anything that we would ever do in our lives?
You know, we've made some choices that are questionable at this stage.
I think so too. I was like, maybe truck driving school would have been a better option.
You know, you're kidding, but I actually, they talk about how they have a shortage of truck drivers, and it occurred to me, I'm thinking, they need those. There's never an ad for it.
No, as soon as we get a truck driving job, they'll have automated trucks.
Yes.
That's what's going to happen. It'll be us personally.
Yeah, so it's us that's actually driving the death of editorial cartooning.
Exactly. And we joke about that a little bit, but like right now, this year, we've lost several very, very talented editorial cartoonists, Pulitzer winners.
Yeah, in one day we lost three.
Lost three, yeah. Joel Pett, Jack Oman, and Kevin Sears lost their jobs.
Yes.
And our friend Mike Thompson has lost his job now up in Minneapolis. And so, like I said, it's a profession that's fraught with peril. But we also had Matt Davis on yesterday, Matt's up at New York at Newsday, and absolutely one of the best cartoonists and just one of the best human beings. So
yeah, you just want to.
Oh, just hate him.
You just want to give him a scar or something.
Something. He literally drops during the conversation, oh yeah, me and my friend Nick Offerman.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Well, you're friends with
Well, yeah, but
me.
I'm friends with you, but yeah.
And I'm friends with, you.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, we can, but I drop your name all the time.
I drop yours too.
It does.
Actually, I do talk about you a lot.
One of your students, though, believe it or not, was from my hometown.
Yeah.
It was from Madison, Mississippi. So.
And your wife teaches her sister?
I taught her sister at one point,
yeah.
So, there you go.
Small errors.
2 degrees of separation. So that's why, in a way, this is a Mississippi story but like I said, go ahead and list off all the papers you're at because I don't have, we have 20 minutes, so make sure you get it in that amount of time.
I'll say very, very, very quickly. I started at the, what the hell was it called? The Orange County Register.
Orange County Register.
The Commercial Appeal in Memphis, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. The Arizona Republic. The Grand Rapids Press. The Birmingham News. And now the Chicago Tribune.
So, yes, and the Chicago Tribune, and you did part-time for the Dallas Morning News
for a short period of time.
For a short period as well. But right now, you are the cartoonist for the Chicago Tribune. Right here in Birmingham.
Yeah, well, makes perfect sense. All ties together in a neat little boat.
It really does. But you did live up in Chicago, and we came to visit, and we stopped by, and it was really cool because we ate at a great Italian restaurant, a friend of yours, and we walked back by the restaurant that inspired the TV show The Bear.
Yeah, Mr. Beef.
The Mr. Beef, yeah.
Which is just a great name for a restaurant.
Oh, I thought so too.
And I never met Mr. Beef. They've closed it,
Oh, they did close?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, COVID got it too, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, let's talk a little bit, like I said, I knew when I was 8 that I wanted to be an editorial cartoonist. I grew up in Atlanta. Jimmy Carter's running for president. Baldy was the cartoonist for the Atlanta paper, but I remember seeing Oliphant and Jeff McNelly and all the legends of our profession. And I used to love seeing Jimmy Carter with the giant teeth and everything else. And I loved Mad Magazine. So it was a great combination of things. And so, I went up. I didn't work as many papers. You started to sound like you might have. Was it you or no? I'm just kidding.
No, yeah. You tell an editor to go to hell. They don't appreciate the suggestion, even though it was.
It was constructive.
It came from here.
It was constructive criticism.
Yes. Yeah, but they didn't care.
They didn't care for that. No, he's really.
No, but I gotta ask you: did you grow up wanting to be an editorial cartoonist, or are you a cartoonist?
Not an editorial cartoonist.
Really?
Yeah. I love Peanuts. I loved all the different strip. Peanuts was my favorite, obviously, and then of course later Calvin and Hobbes and all that. But Peanuts is still just for writing, because it was like those characters came alive. But we sat at the dinner table, my sisters and I and my parents, and we would talk about what was going on in the world. And that was the 70s, so you had Nixon leaving the White House, Vietnam was winding down, Carter was going in. So it's like the news, and my parents subscribed to 2 papers, and we would read them every day, and we'd talk about it. So that was weird.
Same here. Well, we were the same kind of family. My father was a general manager of TV stations, so one of their obvious main function is the local news. So we took all the newspapers. We would talk about the news all the time. We'd obviously have to watch the news at night, and so. But editorial cartooning never really came into the equation for me until college. Yeah, I didn't. I had always admired it. I always appreciated it. At the time, I lived in LA, so I had Paul Conrad, who was a 3-time Pulitzer Prize winning cartoonist. But I was going to college as a pre-law major because God knows America needs another lawyer. But but I was going to go into politics, work in the political realm.
And you like to argue, obviously.
Yeah, it's a part of my charm.
Yes.
Anyway, so the cartoonist for the college paper stunk, so I walked into the office and said, "Can I give it a shot?" And typical college newspaper, they said, "We don't care."
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. If it fills up a hole somewhere, that's great. But the first time I ever saw my cartoon run in print, it was like an epiphany.
Wasn't that magic?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really magic. Really, honestly, when you go down and pick it up and you smell the ink and feel the paper and then you see your work on there. I remember the first one I had at the University of Tennessee. It was I had the same type of experience. I told my advisor I want to be the cartoonist, and she said they already have one, and I went downstairs and beat them out. So it was
you beat them like
with a stick, with a mustard and golf ball, because we did that.
It was a different time.
It was a different time. Because we grew up on Looney Tunes,
Yeah, when hitting someone in the head with an anvil was hilarious.
Exactly.
No, but the cartoonist, and it turns out she just did a cartoon just on a lark, the cartoonist at the time. Yeah. But then a few months later, I sold my first cartoon professionally to the San Pedro News Pilot.
Oh, wow.
And $10.
10. Yeah, right.
American.
10.
I thought
not in pesos.
I thought that was it was May 22nd, 1978. I still remember that day.
Yeah, well, you could buy a house for $20 back then.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, really.
That's what my kids always tell me.
It was a long time ago. It was Jimmy Carter was president, but then it just started a whole series of freelance gigs, and then landed my first job with the Orange County Register.
Yeah, that's a pretty good place to start out.
Wasn't bad.
Yeah,
wasn't bad. It was a weird place to work.
Was it?
Yeah, that's another interview show. It was really very. I mean, to say it was dysfunctional would make it sound that's an insult to dysfunction.
Yeah, and even back then, because I mean, there were probably 200 jobs in the business, something like that. Yeah. So there really weren't. So if you think just how many Americans and everything, but you had it in your heart, I had it in my heart. We were going to do this. Yeah, and we did it. Yeah, but it was great when you got the Birmingham job. Like I said, I was glad you landed here because you had done a good job in Memphis, and something about being a cartoonist in the South is so much more fun.
I gotta tell you, I don't know if I've ever told this story before, and it's not that interesting.
We have an exclusive right here on Mississippi Stories.
Stop the camera, or whatever, not presses, because we don't have those anymore.
No, we do have a few, but not.
When I got the job, the internet was just beginning to be a thing. Yeah. And you could go online, and I could look at video and film of the current governor, who at the time was Fob James. That's right. When you and I started playing the stupid governor chess. And first off, looking up the governor, because I do due diligence, and his name was Fob. I mean, that's his name. Yeah. That was clue number one that I wasn't going to be. We were living in Arizona at the time, and I said we're not out west anymore. This is going to be a very different experience. Yeah. I came here very dedicated to the idea. My wife, God bless her, a Sicilian lady, don't cross them. She said, "You're going to make this work."
I was about to say, she probably never unpacked boxes, I would imagine.
Given my record, I mean, and also seriousness, she had a point. I worked very hard at ignoring stupid editors and just kind of going forward and doing the best job I could. But being cartooning the South, not being from the South, but you and I come at it, well, you're Tennessee boy. I mean,
in Georgia,
in Georgia. So I mean, you're kind of the South. I'm not, but I didn't approach it with, oh my God, I'm from the North. You people are so primitive. Right. I came at it with like, okay, these are good people. trying to do the best they can, many of them, and then they elect the ones that aren't.
Right, and that gives us material.
Yeah. And so that's, you raise an interesting point, which I don't talk about much, which cartooning in the South is different than it was cartooning out west, or cartooning in Michigan. And so on a bunch of different levels, if you want to discuss that, we can. But for the most part, it was, I came here and was, for the most part, embraced.
Yeah.
I followed a cartoonist by the name of Chuck Brooks, who was legendary here, and then a guy named Mark Cullum, who nobody knew. So that was really easy shoes to fill because no one knew the shoes were around.
Right.
I mean, I'm sorry if that offends Mark, but it just wasn't.
Yeah.
He didn't love the profession, and he left it. They really welcomed me here with open arms, and that's something to be said for the South and for Alabama. As you mentioned,
and the same for Mississippi as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the same experience. I came here and it was, I followed Mark Bolton, who had been at the Coin Ledger for a few years. A lot of people liked his work, and he did good work, but, my boss was fantastic, and I loved the people I worked with. Like I said, on the interview, it was such a surreal interview when I came in. I remember them driving me past the hospital saying, "There's a good place to go if you're ever shot." And I'm like, this is not a Chamber of Commerce moment. This is really not. This is not, it was, because I had just flown in from, I'm from the South, but I'd just flown in from San Diego, which, on firsthand experience, is a pretty nice place.
Oh, yes.
And so, but it was like, once again, we had Kirk Fordyce as our governor, and he was very, very cartoonable, if that's a word. And the city, oh yeah, no, I just made it right now, right here live. But no, it was, I just knew it was a good thing, and the people did embrace me, and like I said, I fell in love with the people and the job, and, I like I said, I didn't think I'd be here as long as I thought I'd be here in Mississippi for 2 years, and it's been almost 30.
Yeah, I came here to Birmingham, well, and here's a great example of how much we like it here. Is I was offered and flown out for other jobs, and never took them. Some of them weren't offered, frankly, but some were, and I didn't take them. But when you're offered the job at the Chicago Tribune, you have to take it.
That's right.
That's just one of those premier jobs that you must take. But it broke my heart to leave here. Lived up in Chicago for 10 years. And when I felt that my tenure there was over, I stepped back, and now I'm in a freelance position with the Tribune. But we could have moved anywhere in the world, literally. And we moved back here to Birmingham, Alabama, because there's something very special about the South.
Yeah. Definitely. Number one, it doesn't get down to 30 below zeros like Chicago does.
There's that.
Yeah.
I remember we were through a party, Auburn. My son went to Auburn. Sorry, Tennessee boy.
Yeah.
And they were in the championship game that year.
Yeah.
You'll get that feeling someday.
Oh, we did. 98, we won it.
Okay, did you?
Yeah.
Was that you?
Yeah, that was me out there in the field.
Anyway, so we had a big party. Janine made it was a great way. It was my first year in Chicago, so we thought it was a great way to meet the people at the paper. I handed out all sorts of invitations. I tend to over-invite.
Yeah.
Everybody said, we're coming. And we went, oh crap. But Janine made a bunch of barbecue, greens, banana pudding. The whole thing.
Pudding, not pudding.
Yeah,
pudding.
no.
Yeah,
There's no G.
No,
you crazy?
No, exactly. Well, yeah, but.
So, but that day, I'm not exaggerating, the wind chill factor in Chicago was 70 degrees below zero. 7-0. I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah, that's like Jack London to build a fire cold.
Yeah.
That's like the dog. Exactly. That's the dog abandoned you to die cold.
Yeah. But so during the course of the day, people say, "No, we're not going to brave this." The trains. The tracks froze up for the L. It was really bad. One person showed up. It was like high school all over again. It was the editor of the paper by the name Jerry Kern, but the only reason he could come is because we lived near the paper, and he was staying in the hotel right across the street, so he could come. So it was just he and I with all this barbecue and greens and banana pudding sitting on the couch watching the game.
It's like, we're not in the South anymore.
It was so sad. It was. Yeah, so it doesn't get that cold down here. That's one of the things. But my family's here, my son and his wife, and we're expecting our first grandchild.
Yeah, congratulations.
In a month. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm stoked. I'm so happy.
We're talking about that, about legacy, and it's tough because, like I said, you and I have done the editorial cartooning for years, and to watch the profession kind of go through because I'm not kidding you, in the early 90s when I would go to the cartoonist convention when I was in college, they'd always like, oh, the profession's dying, newspapers are dying, and you know, I mean, obviously, local newspapers are doing. There's some of them that are doing really well, and I think the ones that understand their mission, I think, are still hanging in there.
Yeah.
So I'm not painting a blanket over the whole profession, but editorial cartooning has struggled. I mean, we figured that out, whether 8 full-time ones left.
Yeah, that you and I would define as staff cartoonists.
Yeah, right.
You know, benefits, salary, and your one job is to draw a cartoon.
Yeah, that's right. So
so it's down to about 8 or 9.
Yeah.
And I really, it makes no sense. And
because we're such a visual society, but memes have killed us, I think.
That's part of it, but I think editors, we talked about, you and I went for a walk this morning, we talked about this a little bit. I really do think editors really resent what we do. There's no question in my mind. They always have. Mm-hmm. They've always been demeaning towards our profession.
The one you said to go to hell? That one?
Well, yeah, there's so many. It's a long list. I could have sent them a map. I mean,
yeah, I've been incredibly lucky on that front because even though my previous editor at the Clarion Ledger, and I had 3, but I mean the one I had for the longest amount, the one that literally was my editor when I was the Pulitzer finalist a couple times, and I give him a lot of credit. He was just a great editor, but I loved him, and my predecessor and him didn't get along. But I think, for him, he didn't have to agree with me. He just wanted me to do my best work, and I responded to that. So I was so blessed to have him. And my editor now, Adam, is really good editor. I think sometimes he's busy and I dump a bunch of ideas on him, but he's been good to work with. But yeah, I think there has been, I've always sensed a sense of why, you're just drawing a picture kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's, visual commentary, and we do a lot of research to do what we do, and there's a lot of work that goes into it. It's kind of like icebergs. You don't really see what's below the surface on it.
Right. And editors didn't and don't. And I think, too, that, like I said, they resent the attention we get because, they write these 450-word long thumb-sucking editorials that nobody reads, quite frankly, except for, them. But the cartoons were always and remain very, very popular. Yeah. So the idea that we got some bad news the other day that Mike Thompson up in Minneapolis St.
Which makes no sense whatsoever because Mike was perfect for that job.
Yeah, and he was doing a phenomenal job.
Right.
I mean, well, we won't get too mad in front of the camera because we've already.
I don't want to break the camera.
Yeah, or get arrested for obscenity because we are
in the South.
We got the news last night. And we were driving back from my class, and we were both cursing up a storm.
It sounded like Roy Kent, on a bender. It really did. If you watched Ted Lasso, but it really, because like I said, Mike won the John Looker Award a couple of years before I did. Had been at USA Today, had been in Detroit, he'd been in Springfield, Illinois. Just always done really solid work. But he was from Minnesota. Yeah. And he was back home, and and like I said, sometimes the decisions don't make sense. They're looking, an accountant somewhere is looking for a little extra money or whatever the case
I think that's it, but I think why you can say bean counters, but why is it always the cartoonists who get hacked? It seems to me like you look at comic section, and now I'm going to sound like the old man I have become.
But by the way, you started out with the buckets. You kind of let go of that strip. You're doing Prickly City right now, so he has a comic strip as well. Scott's a lot more famous than I am. So
I just work harder and no, that's not possible.
That's why we're really not good friends, is because he just says things like he just said.
This guy is the hardest working man in cartooning, always has been. We talked again earlier, but before we started filming this, that how the newspapers used to be wrapped in the Sunday comics. People bought the newspaper because it had Peanuts or Bloom County or Far Side, something. That's why people bought the newspaper. I think that really pissed off the editors. That really got under their skin. Why aren't they buying it for our fine journalism and the 4,000-word series on, beeswax production in the northern counties? I mean, because nobody gives a crap, but the cartoons entertain and they bring you in, and if they're good, and this guy's good, they project a sense of community and a sense of concern that you can't, words just don't project, and so it's infuriating. So, but what's going to happen with editorial cartooning is the profession will probably almost die out. Yeah. What's going to happen now, not in my lifetime, some college kid in Des Moines is going to go through these archives and go, hey, what's this? And read this and discover you or Ding Darling or Herblock or McNelly and go, wow, this is awesome. Start doing that. He'll get hired by a newspaper. He'll be massively successful. And editors, being editors, will go, me like, me cartoonist have on me near me. That's my editor imitation.
That's good. Yeah. So for any editors that I know and love, just kind of fast forward past that part.
Well, how do you take a multi-billion-dollar business and drive it into the ground? You hire these guys.
Well, something happened.
Have you ever heard an editor say, ever, in any interview, exit interview, whatever, say, you know what, we made mistakes? You never hear that.
Yeah.
Ever.
It's
No, it's always, well, the internet did it. Because you know what, Marshall? No one ever made money off the internet. Ever. It's never been done. So why would we expect them to do it? Sorry, I'm done.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah, I think I just killed my last job.
Yeah, it was good knowing you, Scott. It really was.
Truck driving.
Yeah, Elon Musk just bought all the trucks. So yeah, you're in trouble on that a little bit. I was going to say, where do you think your career is going to go?
Well, we're both working different things. You're doing children's books. I'm looking at doing picture books. I've got a couple of mid-grade books in front of an agent right now, and he's trying to shop that around. I've also got some television show ideas, and I'm working on a graphic novel with Ted Rall, another editorial cartoonist. Well,
that's the thing. At the end of the day, the same process that does editorial cartooning can go into other things. I mean, that's the beauty of it. And on top of that, and I'm very fortunate, like so Mississippi Today, I mean, it's a really solid nonprofit newsroom that's because a lot of the problems that we're having right now, and I think societally, is that we're having the news deserts. I mean, we hear of food deserts all the time, but I think we have news deserts now. And when people don't have that coverage on that. So
have you seen the map of that? Seriously, if you haven't looked that up, look up news deserts. It's shocking.
Yeah.
And we're losing, I think, 2 to 4 newspapers a week now?
Yeah. I'm very grateful. I mean, Mississippi Today and Deep South Today, the work that we're doing, we have a great newsroom. I really do. We have great staff, and it's been a blessing. Well, I tell you what, the 20 minutes went by really quick.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it really did.
Okay.
But anything just final you'd like to say as we wrap up?
Be a consumer of cartoons, be it Marshall's, be it mine, be it anybody's. Seek them out. Add them. Many of them now are included in newsletters. Subscribe to those newsletters and support cartooning because it's still a viable, really important, and frankly, an intrinsic part of our nature as a species because you and I have always been around. Yeah. Always.
Yes, that's what people always say when I'm in the room. It's like, are you still here?
You're always, parties.
You're always around. I don't quite understand that.
Are you ever going away? Nope.
Scott, by the way, I did enjoy your class last night.
Thank you.
Enjoyed your students, and congratulations for that new endeavor on your part too. Yeah, teaching can be terrifying sometimes, but it's incredibly rewarding, especially when you start meeting the students and getting in, because I think you end up learning as much from them as they do from you.
They're an amazing group of students. They really are. I'm really, really, really blessed.
Yeah. Hey, thanks. It's been good. We're in his studio, by the way, if you can't tell the background. He's a very much more interesting studio than I have. I generally sit at the kitchen table. So this
is ADD Central, so it's just cute.
Yeah, this is literally his studio in Chicago, moved south. So you got it down here. Scott, man, thank you.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Hey, thank you for watching another edition of Mississippi Stories. You can always find more of them on MississippiToday.org, and also some great journalism as well, and a few good cartoons as well. Hey, look, we'll be back again next week right here on Mississippi Today, and thanks, man. Y'all have a good week. Thank you for watching this episode of Mississippi Stories. Make sure to subscribe to the Mississippi Today YouTube channel and click the bell to be notified every time a new video uploads.